Hi, I was going through my donor balls and I happened to come across this. This is i9-A2141 and I thought I'll salvage the CPU off it so I can do this upgrade. And if all goes well, we should end up with a computer Apple never made and one of a kind. Right, so I'll remove the CPU. Right, so there we have it, the i9 CPU, ready for this upgrade. Right, so here we have the Mac Mini. This is the Intel version 2018, and this is the last of the Intel line ever made by Apple. So they made this in i3, i5 and i7. This is the i3 model, and hopefully at the end of this we'll have the i9 version. And hopefully give it a few more years, because I do like this computer. I sped up some of the footage of taking apart, just to make this video more edible. Right, so I've taken it apart, but I have noticed the CPU's in very close proximity to the RAM slot. And I'm a bit worried when I heat up the CPU, because the RAM slot's made of plastic, it's going to burn it. And the last thing I want to do is damage the RAM slot. So I need to come up with a method of protecting that RAM slot while I heat up the CPU. I'm going to try Kapton tape and maybe something else to slip in between the two. Because there's not a lot of clearance. Yeah, I think that's the way to go, I think. Right, so I opted for these little black shields that are nicked off an iPad. I'm hoping that's enough to protect it, with a bit of luck. But only time will tell, I'll know afterwards. But there's not a lot of clearance. Right, so I set up this little preheater I have. You definitely need a preheater for these balls, because they absorb a massive amount of heat. It's quite surprising. Right, so I'll set up the little preheater. And go ahead and remove the CPU. Removing the i3 CPU from this one now. I'm just going to place it loosely on here. Get that all set up. Just adjust the camera slightly. And I want to protect this chip over here, so I'll use thermal pads for that. I might shove one under here, this will be on the safe side. Where it's plastic, I'm afraid it's going to burn. Hopefully not, fingers crossed. Just get it centre. Right, so I'm going to set the preheater up. I was thinking about 200. And I'll probably use about 450 temperature on the hot air station and full air speed, 120 airflow. Right, so I'll go ahead and remove the CPU. Right, finally got it off. It's quite surprising how long it took, to be honest with you. I thought it'd come off quicker than that, but it's surprising how much heat these boards take. So yeah, the pads look alright by the looks of it, and the pads on the CPU look alright. Not that that matters, but this i3 is no longer required, because I'm going to be replacing it. Yeah, the pads look alright. Right, so I can go ahead now and clean the board. I will go ahead and check the RAM slot because I'm a bit worried about it. Where it's made of plastic and it's so close. Yeah, it appears fine. Right, so it doesn't look like any pads got ripped. Could have done with a bit more heat in the corners maybe. And it don't look like there's any burning on the RAM slot. And everything looks fine. So yeah, got lucky there. Right, so I'll go ahead and clean the board now. Right, I think I got all the excess solder off and the pads are all wet, so I'm going to clean the flux off now with some isopropyl and hopefully make all the pads nice and clean. Right, so that just leaves rebuilding the i9 CPU and then I think we're all ready to go. Right, so it's come up quite nicely. All the pads are still there and they're nice and flat, ready for the new CPU. So yeah, that's good. So we go ahead and rebuild the CPU now, so it's ready for transfer. Right, so as you've probably seen from the footage, basically there's a row down here, it's really close together, and what happens is when you reball, the balls jump from one hole to the other, so I've ended up with a right mess down here at the bottom. So I'm going to have to hand do this, unfortunately. I'm going to have to try and correct it with solder balls. Right, so I've taken out this whole section and I'm going to redo it with balls. Unfortunately, there's like a line too close together. It keeps jumping. Every time the paste forms a solder ball, it jumps from one hole to the other. And I think this is the only method I can think of to save this reball. So yeah, I'll go ahead with that. so I finally passed that nightmare. Yeah, there's like a row of balls. They were just closer together than the rest of them, and it kept jumping from one hole to the other. But yeah, no, I finally collected it, and took a hell of a long time. But now I'm ready to install the new CPU. So hopefully, at the end of this, we'll have an i9 Mac Mini. Right, I'll go ahead and apply flux, and I'll install the CPU. Right, so now I've got it aligned, I need to carefully transfer it over to the preheater without disturbing the CPU. So hopefully all the pads are still lined up once I transferred it. But I have to do it under the microscope. Yeah, it don't look like it's moved. Right, so I'll go ahead and install the CPU now. Right, so I've got the CPU installed. I'm just removing the Kapton tape and give it a quick clean. It seems to have settled down alright, I think. I'll have to check that, but I think it's settled down alright. And then I can go ahead and test. Right, so I checked it over. It doesn't look like the RAM slot's burned or anything, and it looks like the CPU's settled down alright. So yeah, only a test will tell. I'll have to assemble it again and test. Right, so I'll go ahead and assemble. Right, so I powered it on and I heard the Apple chime, and it's appeared to be working. And as you can see, look, we now have a Mac Mini 2018 i9. The Apple computer that Apple never made. Now with the faster specs, hopefully I can get a couple more years out of this. Yeah, it all appears to be working fine. I've got it on recorder at the moment, so you can see the screen. And as you can see, i9 CPU. I might upgrade the graphics as well, I'm not sure yet, I'm going to look into that. But it definitely needs a bit more hard drive, I think. 128 gigabit ain't enough. But yeah, it all appears to be working, so yeah, that was a successful upgrade. Took ages, I know, but it was successful. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Thanks for watching, and like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to see more.